Hi, John Landis, Solutions Consultant for TriMech Solutions out of the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania office. We're getting ready for an office move, and I'm trying to figure out what size moving van we need to move all of our stuff. So I modeled up our training room, complete with all of the filled cardboard boxes, and I'm going to use some techniques in SOLIDWORKS to try to figure out the volume of all of these components in this training room. The first thing I might try to do is use some of our advanced select techniques. And if I'm interested in the volume of just the boxes, perhaps I need a storage container, I can ask SOLIDWORKS to show me or select all the identical components. When I tell it to match the configuration names, if I grab any one of these boxes, it'll just grab all of the large boxes, that particular configuration. But I could also ask SOLIDWORKS to simply return or select for me all of those identical components, regardless of the configuration names. And there's my complete set of all those cardboard boxes. I could then run mass properties, or what I'd like to do is save this to a selection set. With a simple right click, I can go to the Save Selection node in my shortcut menu and save this as a selection set. And now, as I pick other components, I can add them to that selection set also. For example, if I pick this one bookcase and ask SOLIDWORKS to return back to me the identical components, of course, it picks the others. And with a simple right click, I can now add them to the existing selection set or create a new selection set as needed. At any time, I can go back up to the top of our tree and grab that selection set that grabs all of those components. And now I could indeed, interrogate the mass properties of just those components. Our case, 109 cubic feet. But what I'm really interested in is all of the material, all the items in this room. So let me suppress the room feature. And then I'm just going to use another advanced selection technique here to select all, like Control A, and then I can interrogate the mass properties, and it reports back to me that the combined volume of all of these components in this assembly is about 124 cubic feet. Well, that doesn't seem quite right. That seems a little low. And I think it's because it's taking into account the volume of these desks and not the bounding box, not the space claim that it occupies. And I really need to know that in order to understand what size moving van to order. So we can leverage something in SOLIDWORKS called bounding boxes. If I open up one of these desks, you'll notice that here at the top of the tree, we have this bounding box feature. And that will report back to us as I hover my cursor here what the length, width, and height of the total bounding box is, as well as the internal volume of that bounding box. This is parametric information that can be leveraged in many different places, for example, in a bill of material. So here I can insert a bill of material table into my assembly. And I'm just going to zoom in on it here. And I want you to understand that those bounding box values are properties that we can leverage. Check this out. We can add a column to the right and say that the value of this column represents the total bounding box volume. And now we're starting to see information reported back to us about the total bounding box volume for each of these particular components. This is a little more realistic value for the space claim that we're interested in. We can also add another column here. If we're looking for a rolled up total, we can insert another column to the right and drive this value with an equation. And we can ask SOLIDWORKS to calculate that the quantity times the value of the bounding box volume is what's going to populate this next column here. And this is our rounded up volume for the quantity times the volume of each individual component as far as the bounding box goes. And finally, if I wanted to sum everything up, I can insert a row below, and then in this cell, ask it to do a summation function. And it reports back to us that we're about 422.77 cubic feet as far as the volume of all of the totals of the bounding boxes for the components in my room. I have 3 rooms like this, so that tells me I need about 1,300 cubic feet of storage or space in a moving van. And I know that a 20-foot van has about 1,000 cubic feet, and a 26-foot van has about 1,600 cubic feet of space. And now, by using SOLIDWORKS, these advanced selection techniques, interrogating mass properties, and using bounding boxes, I now know that I have to order a 26-foot van to move all of the stuff in 3 rooms like this. I hope this is helpful and it showed some great techniques. I appreciate your attention.